Smokey, you bring up a tremendous point, and I think I've made this video to some degree already, but Oakland has to stop playing defense. You went through what you went through, timing, people, all of it the wrong situation. If there is any hope, any desire, start right now. Utah's out there. Portland's out there. They're clearing way. They're making waves. I don't even know if expansion in baseball is close. If I'm being really honest, I don't know that it is. They've got a whole labor issue to work out, salary cap yes or no to work out. They've got competitive imbalance to work out. They've got so many things, TV deals, media rights deals, regionally and nationally. Baseball's got a lot on its plate. But at least if you're Oakland, start that process right now. Who are these investors? Where is this land? What would the city of Oakland do? What would the county of Alameda do? Don't just sit on your heels. Don't just sit on your hands. Start playing some offense on this. Is the Vegas Stadium really going to happen? Well, you've seen construction. People look at the live webcam. Concrete has been poured. Poured? Can I say poured? It's starting to go vertical, right? I think up to this point, there are a lot of questions. Who's paying for this? Has everything even been approved from like a licensing standpoint and from all the different things that need to happen? Have they all actually happened, or are they just like rogue starting construction here? My point is like permits. My point is, I think at this point, you've got Major League Baseball who's behind this, and you've got the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority who are behind this. And at this point, even if the A's are to fail at something, even if John Fisher can't fund this fully by himself and can't find anybody else to invest in it and can't sell the soccer team to earn, $500, $600, $700 million instantly and help fund everything, I think there's too many other willing and able parties to help make this happen, to help will this happen. Like, not will it happen, to will it through. So I think, is it going to happen? I think something's going to get built. After that, who gets to finalize it, how it all comes together, I'm just saying it's almost like a kid at a birthday party swinging the bat at the piñata, can't hit the piñata, so mom or dad has to come over and say, here, Billy, turn this way. Let me help you hit that piñata. And that person, that parent coming in, is Major League Baseball and or the Las Vegas Convention Visitors Authority. Hey, Brody, NFL indoor stadium trend is worrying. Cold weather games are a big part of the sport. I get hosting year-round events, but having the league be just a bunch of Allegiant stadiums would suck. Prapa, that is a great comment. That's a great topic of conversation. You're seeing the Chicago Bears move out to the suburbs. You're seeing the Cleveland Browns move out to the suburbs. You're seeing the Denver Broncos move actually a little bit closer to downtown, or at least on the other side of the freeway, closer to downtown. But they also want an indoor stadium. Actually, I think in Denver, to be fair, they want to do a retractable roof stadium. But it is interesting, right, that all of these cold weather markets, these teams with historic outdoor backgrounds, and some of the memorable freezing cold games that they've ever played, maybe they had a huge home field advantage in those situations, that they want to get away from that. And the number one reason they want to get away from that has nothing to do with football. It has everything to do with hosting a Taylor Swift concert. And I don't mean specifically just that, but I mean like in Denver, for example. If you want to host the Final Four, you've got Ball Arena, former Pepsi Center, seats 18,000, 19,000, home of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. But the point is, like, if you want to jam-pack 75,000 into an indoor stadium and play a basketball game there, you can't do that right now outdoors at Empower Field. Like, you cannot do that in the middle of springtime. But if you've got a dome, you can do that. And so I think it's interesting, right, that these football teams are realizing, number one, they want to own the stadium, or at least they want to own the real estate surrounding the stadium, and they want to have a roof over their heads so that they can be a year-round entertainment venue. And actually, though, if you think about it, to truly get the value out of the stadium, and if you are going to host events there year-round, if you are going to make it a 12-month, 365-day thing, I mean, it does make more sense, but it totally changes the dynamic of being the Denver Broncos and playing a game in late December or early January when it could be in the middle of a snowstorm. We've seen that. Same thing in Chicago. Same thing with the Cleveland Browns. So I understand the trend. Not here to say that I love that trend, but I understand why teams are moving in that direction. And I don't favor playing, here's the other part about it. It's just the home field advantage. If you had one because of the cold, that goes away. But now you're playing on another turf field. How many turf fields do we want in the NFL? And even the ones that are grass and they get to exist because of that translucent roof, like that's going to be the trend entirely. Like Allegiant Stadium or even in Arizona, how they bring the field out on a tray, they leave it outside, then they push it right back in the stadium for games. I get it. They're trying to do real grass indoors. If it works, tremendous for them. I still feel like that's cheating the system. But the number one thing I don't want to do is have everybody go indoors and have everybody play on turf. We've seen it documented, way too many football injuries because of turf. Let's get turf out of here. From the DR, let's imagine that you were never a fan of the NHL. Do you think the league is doing a good job at marketing the league? And what team would you follow in this situation? Clearly, I would follow the San Jose Sharks. I love California. I love the color teal. Am I selling you on this yet? I don't know about following what team, and probably geography is a huge factor there of where I am and who my team might be. If I were never a fan of the NHL, do I think the league is doing a good job at marketing the league? I think they're doing the best they can. You have to understand that in certain markets across North America and across the world, you don't need to sell hockey in Canada. Like, it is number one up there, unquestioned. And in a lot of markets here in the United States, especially East Coast, Philly, Boston, Mid-Atlantic, Chicago, it's very popular. Those are traditional hockey cities. I'll throw St. Louis in there too. I think the league has been doing the best they can to try and market the game and the sport and the teams and the players in non-traditional markets. And it's not easy. That's an uphill battle. It takes, honestly, decades to really ingrain yourself in culture and to get that deep. So I guess the point is, yes, I do think they're doing a good job, but I understand anybody who thinks they can't see it really happening as quickly. It's only because it's difficult and it takes time. I do think the NHL could do a little bit better in having their players be more personable, but then again, you can't change people. A lot of the league's best players are straightforward. They're, front-facing wise, they're very simple. They don't have a ton of swag and personality. That's not something that's really valued in the hockey community. You can be yourself, you can be your own person, but it's not like other sports, basketball, baseball, football, where there are some characters. Hockey doesn't really have truly the same type and amount of characters just in the game, and you can't force that. So I think the NHL could do just a little bit better job promoting its biggest personalities in those non-traditional markets, but overall, I think they're doing a good job. My Super Bowl halftime pick for the show this year, I've made a video about this, and I'll say it again, Taylor Swift. And my wife scared me yesterday, actually. She walked in the room and she's scrolling her phone. She goes, "Oh, did Adele get named the halftime performer of the Super Bowl?" And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. What? And that news story, like, there was some speculation, but it popped up. She's like, "Yeah, a friend sent it to me." I'm like, well, that doesn't mean it's necessarily true. Nothing against Adele. Look, how do I put this? If you're the Super Bowl and you want the sign of the times, like in 1993, Michael Jackson was the thing. And so in Pasadena, for the first time, they replaced marching bands with, Michael Jackson. That's what you did in 1993. We're here in 25. It's about to be 26. Taylor Swift just came off like a 3-year tour, 2.5, 2, whatever. She's got a new album coming out, I think, next week, by the way. All of this is lining up. Now, you got to separate it from Travis Kelce, the engagement. I get it. I totally understand. And there's already that crossover, which some people love, some people couldn't care less, and some people despise. My point is, who's bigger than Taylor Swift right now? If you love her, if you hate her, whatever, who's bigger than Taylor Swift? If you want to go big and you want somebody with the catalog of music that can do, like a 13-minute halftime show, but I mean, she can go 3 hours like she did in concert. That's the point. This times out to where, quite honestly, she couldn't do it really last year, just jumped off tour. Didn't make sense. This makes sense. Okay? from a traction standpoint, from a popularity standpoint, from a business standpoint, but just from a logistical standpoint. So I'm not telling you, it could be anybody else. And Roger Goodell's already said it's possible. Clearly, they've been talking. I don't think there's any denying that. Maybe it's Adele, though. I don't know. I just feel like if it's anybody else rather than Taylor Swift, that's going to be a letdown. And I do think she's got the right music to get up there and rock a halftime show. I don't know that all the albums are conducive, and I don't know that we're going to be slowing it down, and maybe for one song, just to kind of change the pace. And I think the new album is fun, and it's going to reflect the exact kind of show that she'd want to put on. So, Taylor Swift, Swizzle is my pick. Renee, love the shows. At what point will cities start pushing back on teams over building stadiums with their dollars? I think that whole conversation is not even in the initial phases anymore. I think cities and counties realize what's going to be pitched to them. Like, hey, either you build us a new stadium or we're leaving in a lot of occasions. But at the same respect, I do want to say that one thing I'm more aware of now than ever is that if we're talking about like a city-owned building or a county-owned stadium or something that the general public is dramatically going to benefit from over the course of 30, 40, 50 years, at some point, right? So long as the deal makes sense. Like, I don't want a city or a county to get fleeced. So long as the deal makes sense, you've got to be a willing participant in putting some money into this and creating the jobs. And it's not even just the camaraderie, and it's not just the good vibes that come with your city having a professional sports team or whatever, but it does something for you financially to a certain extent. Am I saying cities and counties pay for the whole thing? No, I'm not. I am saying there is a happy medium of where cities can put in something and counties can put in something, or they can adjust the tax district of the stadium and the arena that make money to help pay for itself. If you can pull that off, great for you. And then you get a brand new stadium, you get happy people, you get to bring conventions and games and events to your locale. Like, do it. Look at Santa Clara, California. How many times would you ever come to Santa Clara, California if it weren't for the 49ers being there? Now, I understand the breakdown of who paid for what in the stadium. There's still a lot of debate there, but the truth is this. The Super Bowl is coming to Santa Clara for a second time in a decade this upcoming new year in 2026. So my point is there's already been pushback. Like the lines have been drawn in the sand, and cities and counties, they're aware of what's going to be asked of them. But sometimes you also have to be ready to say, well, what can we do to at least try and be a good partner, a good teammate in this, and try and get something back for ourselves? It can benefit everybody. It really can. Oh, there we go. DMP did get in on the super chat. Love the content. Time to update the aviation channel. Go Tampa Bay. DMP, I appreciate that. Had the aviation channel for a while, had the Home Studio Pro channel, and they've kind of gone silent because I've worked so hard on this channel. And oh yeah, I also have an actual real job, which I need to get back to later today, by the way. But the point being, I appreciate you finding those channels, and here's actually something I want to say almost a little bit in a bonus way. So the channel here is sitting on, I don't know, 80-something thousand subscribers, 86 somewhere, 87, I don't know. One of the things that I've been thinking about lately is getting to 100,000 and what would I do when we get there? Like, it's not a matter of if anymore, it's only a matter of when. And you know what? Whenever it happens, great. But when that happens, I'm thinking about starting a second channel. I'm thinking about starting a second channel. There's a lot of videos that I would want to do that, I mean, look, I don't want to get into every world event, certainly not into politics. There's a lot of things that I'm still not going that deep. Other people, they like the second channel to go rogue or whatever. And see, I feel like I'm pretty straightforward on what I'm doing here already, but I do feel like I made a Pokemon video recently. My son wanted to do that. That's perfect second channel material. My wife and I watch a lot of TV shows. We watch TV series at night, like one episode per night. Like, for example, right now we're on the latest season, season 5 of Only Murders in the Building. I thought it'd be cool to have a chat with my wife about, after we finish this season, no spoilers, but wrap up the show or do some travel videos or a lot of different things that are off topic of sports, but I don't really have a great way and a place to put them on the channel as it exists right now. So I guess the point is I am thinking about doing a second channel when we get to 100,000. I think what I would do is launch the channel before that, let you know it's there, try and get the subscribers up, and then start to make some videos maybe as we get to 100,000. So if you're in the chat, let me know what you think about that. I would love some feedback on that. I will just try and make it entertaining. And the frequency of those videos, maybe once or twice a week. It's not going to be the daily thing here or the twice a day thing here like on the main channel, because the main channel is not tapering down. I'm not going to slow this down to do something else. I'm only going to do that in addition when I have the time. And the videos may not be as great, but that's fine. They're on the second channel. They won't mess up the algorithm. David saying, big SF Giants fan. Time to axe Bob Melvin. Can't make big moves for Devers, Adames, etc. in collapse like this. Time for Buster to bring in his guy. Thoughts? David, let me first say, I had anticipated doing a little bit more Giants coverage here on the YouTube channel this summer. This is my first summer in a long time having an off season. I was doing work for the Sharks, but not covering baseball games every night, day and night and weekend like I had been for 15 straight years. I never got around to it. What I want to tell you here is I'm interested in the Giants. I'm very much paying attention to this season. I have been for years, but it's an interesting study. Like this team, no matter who their president is, who their general manager is, who their field manager is, who their star players are, in the last 4 years, like they are so cemented in and around the 500 mark, it's scary. And there's a lot of teams out there who would be happy to be 500 and then move forward past that. It's a stepping stone. But this is like a step that the Giants just can't take the next step from. They can't get to better than 500. So what's going on there? Is it a player thing currently? Is it a pipeline thing? Is it how you're acquiring your players? Is it the ballpark? It's too much of a pitcher's park, especially at night in the summertime. I think the answer is not to make rushed decisions right now. Buster Posey just jumped into this as president of baseball operations. Bob Melvin's been a field manager for a very long time. I will also say that here at the end of September 2025, after the season they've been through, some highs, some lows, a few more highs, and then a lot of lows here at the end. Like they basically just ran out of gas to get disqualified from the playoffs like they were the other night. Would they lose like 9 of 10, 9 of 11, something like that? You got to let the dust settle. Give everybody a week or two here at the end of the season. Let's reevaluate. Let's reassess. Make sure Bomel wants to do this. I think he's got a year left on his contract, but Buster just came in. When you say bring in his guy, who's Buster's guy? Is it Bruce Bochy? Does that work? And then is Boch really, how does that work? How do you get him? How long do you think he can realistically go for? I hope that he can last many more years on Earth, but also like the rigors of being a Major League Baseball field manager. It takes a toll on you at any age. So I think if I reassess this in the Giants' perspective, they've done some things. Devers was huge. Adames was huge. Probably want to build on some more pieces. It takes a while for any GM or president to put their stamp on an organization. I don't know that you want to be too drastic here from year 1 to year 2 with Buster. Maybe after next year, okay, we could talk about some of these things. I would just not rush to that quite yet. Kenneth wondering, do you really see MLB expanding in the next 5 years? So let's think about next year. So here's year 1. It's next year. All they have to do is worry about, is there going to be a lockout or not? Let's say that there is a lockout. Then you're a half season of that, hypothetically. Now you're 1.5 years. Then you got to play another half season. You finally have it worked out. So now you're 2 years into 5 years. And then to even announce expansion, That's not going to happen for another 2 years. Even if you announce it like tomorrow, it's not happening until 2028. So if you're asking me, do I see an expansion team in the next 5 years? Basically, absolutely not. But could something get announced hypothetically in 2027, 2028, if they get all this resolved? Then possibly. But they've got a lot to figure out. It's not just the salary cap thing. It's not just the competitive imbalance thing. It's the media deals. It's like the ESPN backing out of their contract with you type situation. How do you figure out the future of this so that every team is getting something out of their TV deal? I mean, literally within the last couple of years, a lot of major league teams and their regional sports network partners, like the RSNs, have had to step away and renegotiate a new deal for a lot less money so that they're paying the teams a lot less money. And that's the only deal the teams can get. They're losing $30-50 million every single year on the TV contracts they used to have versus what they don't have right now. They've got to figure out a way for Major League Baseball and its teams to get back to some type of organization and orchestration of streaming or TV deals or whatever, because it's not really going great in that direction right now. Mr. Mike 95. Hey, Brody. Love your content. Mr. Mike, I love the fact that you're here. Loving it. Watching from Whalers country. Can you explain to the nostalgic hockey fans why Hartford is not going to be the next expansion team? We can't even fill the XL Center. It's interesting because if you're in Hartford or if you're in Quebec City, you're looking at Atlanta saying, wait, you're going to get a third chance? You're looking at Houston saying, well, I get it. You're a big market, but how did you get to cut in line? And if you're in Phoenix, you're like, wait a second. It wasn't our fault that we lost our team. And why shouldn't we be tops on the list, maybe compared to Atlanta? Hartford, too. Now, Hartford, different scenario here, Mr. Mike. I don't want to be cruel in saying this, but if you just look at media market size, when the Whalers became a team, it was just different times. And the geography of the NHL was different, and the landscape of the league was different. Their objectives were different. It's one of those situations that, quite honestly, we translate it to real life. The Oakland A's were like this too. When they came from Kansas City to Oakland in the late 60s, there's kind of the thought and the feeling that if this team ever leaves, they'll never be replaced. This is your one shot at it. You're maybe big enough to do this, and Oakland was big enough. It's almost like the Sacramento Kings of the NBA, who also almost moved to SoCal or Seattle, or even like Virginia Beach, I think was a possibility. But if Sacramento lost its NBA team, I don't think the NBA would ever be going back to Sacramento. I feel like it's the same thing with Hartford and the Whalers. And by the way, when Carolina wears the Whalers sweaters and colors, I almost feel offended, and I have no horse in that race. It's hard to watch. Like you literally took the team and now you're honoring them, but you're also rubbing it in the faces of Hartford fans. So again, I just think it's a market size. I don't think it's not a question of, is this hockey country? Are there good fans here? That's not it. If you're trying to run a business, if you're trying to get ratings, if you're trying to do all the things that a successful NHL team needs to fill seats and have sponsors and all that stuff, I just don't know that Hartford, like it was a spot. And I don't know that it will ever be a spot again, simply because of demographics. So, Mr. Mike, hopefully I got to that in the best way possible. What is your thought on the NHL playing neutral site preseason games? Many years ago, the Sharks played a preseason game in Stockton. Well, guess what? They also played one in Stockholm. I was there in Sweden. I thought that's what you were saying at first. The Kings and Ducks played in Ontario this week. I love it. I will say this too. Do you know that the NHL is expanding next year in the regular season? That's right. They're going from 82 to 84 games. Now, the last time they did this was in the early 90s. And do you know what they did for all those teams in those extra 2 games? They had them each select a market, which was not their own, and go play games somewhere else. Was it Sacramento for the Sharks? Man, I was just a kid, and I do remember they played some games there. Was that regular season, though, or preseason? My point is, What if part of this deal of going from 82 to 84 meant that, hey, you're still going to get all of your 82 games like normal, but what we want you to do is test our game and grow our game outside of your market. Pick another market that's nearby that can support your team. Like, don't go to a rink where you're going to have problems. And by the way, the logistics of this are terrible. Yeah. Got to go find and rent an arena a year ahead of time and I don't know that any of this is, certainly don't know. This is all in my brain, right? This is coming from nowhere else than right here, right now. But hypothetically, it could happen that way, where the push is, and maybe even if it doesn't happen next year, three years from now, take 2 games and try somewhere else. So my point is, I like the league growing. I like them playing games in other places so long as the arena setup works, so long as it's a place that makes sense and it's set up for success. To try and jam games in preseason or regular season elsewhere, that doesn't benefit everybody or anybody. So if they are in sites that make sense, where a market could be enticed, then that's great. I don't know that the players mind it terribly. If you're the home team and you'd rather just be sleeping in your bed that night, then yeah, it's not optimal. But if everybody's doing it, then it's just part of the whole situation. Some idiot. No, you're not. You have a great question here. Thoughts on flag football in the Olympics? 2 things about this. Number 1, we all know that next spring in Saudi Arabia, Tom Brady and Fanatics and Fox and some other groups, they are doing a flag football round robin style tournament, 3 teams. And gosh, on the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey's going out there. George Kittle is going out there. Kyle Shanahan, their coach, is going out there. Anyway, it's kind of a warm-up for NFL players to do something in the flag football realm. Now, this will be in 2026. The Olympics in LA are going to happen in 2028. So here's my question. Does the NFL, and they've never really had to worry about players going to do something else in the offseason or potentially getting hurt by exerting themselves, this flag football exhibition thing, before anything else, like, what speed are they going at? Is it going to be super competitive? Because if they're just going to run through the motions, people won't watch. So I think they want people to watch. They have to put on some type of athletic exhibition. Excuse me. But the point is, if you exert yourself, there's not a 0% chance that you don't get hurt. So, or a 0% chance that you do get hurt. So the point is, are they going to take this seriously? And then what happens in the Olympics? You don't want to have an Olympic sport where you've got the USA versus everybody else. And by the way, there should be some other countries because football has players with roots from all over the place. So you would hope that it would be more of a diverse showing than just Team USA and then everybody else. But if they're going to go full speed, there's a chance somebody gets hurt. The league won't like that. Turf toe, ACL, MCL, PCL, UCL if you're a quarterback, I guess. 2 people running into each other without a helmet on. It can happen even in flag football. So I just think there's a lot to figure out from the NFL side of this. My thoughts are mainly this. How serious is anybody going to take this from the player perspective? That's my number 1 main thought. Who had the under 0.5 rainout games in Tampa this year? FL, Florida Loon News. Is that what it is? You know what? Now, partially because the Rays played such a home-heavy first half of the schedule and a road-heavy second half of the schedule. I would also say, too, now this is something that I talked about at length here on the YouTube channel going into the baseball season. 2 things. It's going to rain a lot in Tampa outdoors, and the Rays are going to struggle through that, and they really didn't. And also, it's going to be super hot up in Sacramento where the A's are going to be playing the next 3 seasons. And you know what? Here in Northern California, we had a super mild summer. Like, we're having a hotter September than we had even of a June or July, if I'm being honest, or even August. So to your point, got lucky. Rays got lucky. And you know what? Even more important than the lack of rainouts that they had, and they had some rain issues, but you're right, not suspended games or canceled games. Well, suspended games, yes, but not canceled games. The number 1 thing I hope for with Rays and the weather is that the next couple months does not impact the roof going back on at Tropicana Field. That's more important to them now than anything else. Yeah, the baseball season, rainouts or not, whatever, you'll get past that. You'll figure that out. But you got to get a roof back on that place, and you got to be playing baseball games there with the new ownership group starting next year. The Oakland thing, the Sacramento thing, it just wasn't hot. But I will say that if next summer is like most summers, and we saw bad attendance in Sacramento this year, regardless of the weather, more about the team and their lack of marketing, but man, you're going to see some super small crowds during heat waves up in Sacramento. Kevin saying, since MLB runs and controls minor league baseball, do you think that Major League Baseball will lock out the minor league players in 2027 if they lock out the major league players? I don't think anybody wants that from the player side or the league side. So my understanding is that there will be no impact on minor league baseball if there is a Major League Baseball lockout. And look, those minor league teams, they still want to make money and their players want to play. When minor league baseball shut down for 2020, right? Like it did. There were a lot of players who skipped a whole baseball season and their development lacked, and they do not want to go back to that. Now, that was a global crisis, right? So that was a whole separate issue, but this would be out of a failed negotiation that you're not going to have a minor league season as well. Kevin, this is a great question. A lot of people have been asking about it. As far as I know, the minor leagues and their season will still be played in 27, even if the Major League Baseball season doesn't start on time, or doesn't even happen at all. Now, I don't know all the details. We're going to get in the weeds eventually on this about players that are on major league rosters versus minor league rosters, and if major league teams knew that a lockout was coming, would they dump a bunch of their younger players who they just want to keep playing baseball? Would they put them down in the minor leagues, even though they have no business and no place being in the minor leagues? It's possible. I would imagine that the minor leagues would be a pretty popular place to be. Again, you do not want to miss a major league season. You don't want to miss a professional baseball season once you're in the minor leagues. So you don't want to miss all that. It's a great question, though. I know a lot of people are unclear on how all that plays out. All right, hang on a second. I was just going through the chat. I found it. I absolutely found it here. $1.99 to get that on the screen. I hope it was worth it. Ryan wondering, should MLB season ticket holders be worried about a strike in 2026? No, not a strike in 26. A lockout in 27. Now, you're going to get your money back. Like, you might want to have some reservations about sending that money in until the very last minute, until you have to in 27. Like, if this is really going to keep going, maybe they hash it out during the 26 season. But 27, it's the start of the 27 season that we're worried about, and it's probably bound to be a lockout more than a strike. And should you worry? Like I said, no. They're not going to fleece you on your money and take your money and not have games. You're going to get refunds. In fact, they're probably going to try and do more and better for you knowing that you've stuck with them. So it's definitely something to think about.